You are very welcome along to this review of Doctor Who Series 11, Episode 7, Kerblam. This episode is about postmen in the future. In the opening scene, we are greeted by the robots and the characters that we meet in this episode. I can't remember the characters' names, but I do remember the actors who played them. We have a department worker who works in the factory, who is played by Lee Mack, who you may remember earlier on in the year appeared on Series 25 of Top Gear, which you can watch in the info card above. There are some familiar faces that I remember from this episode. One of them is Julie. How do you pronounce her second name? Julie Hemblinswesh. I'm sorry if I... No. Julie Hemendwich. I'm sorry if I butchered the name completely, but I noticed that most recently she was in the third series of Broadchurch alongside Jodie Whittaker. So it was nice to see them back on screen together, but this time taking on a completely different role. In this role, she is, or the character she plays rather, is head of the factory and makes sure that all the robots and all the postmen, by which are robots, ensure that the factories are run properly and packing is being done to a company standard. There are spoilers in this review ahead, so you have been warned. The episode starts off nicely, in the sense that we are greeted by the characters and the different robots. The postman, I keep saying robots for some reason. We are greeted by the postmen and the department workers who work in the store. Now, in this episode, I found it very entertaining, and the episode itself kind of, for me anyway, I don't know about anybody else, but the episode itself kind of brought Doctor Who back to its roots, in a sense that there's no, yes, you're travelling to the future, and yes, you're looking at robots, but it brought it back to what the show is about, referencing the Moffat era. Now, as we know, Stephen Moffat, who left in 2017 as showrunner and head writer, during his tenure as showrunner and head writer for Series 10 and the ones that came previous, was all about the sci-fi element of Doctor Who and the technological advances that we could see in many years to come. This episode did exactly that, in the sense that it brought Doctor Who back to its sci-fi roots, exploring what robots could do and what robots could do if it got out of hand, and it did that, and that was very interesting. The climax of this episode, I suppose, is that it is the janitor who works on the janitorial floor of the factory that is behind the whole exploding bubble wrap thing. I should explain that this episode centers around bubble wrap that explodes if you burst the bubble. Yeah, it is found that he is behind the whole plot point, and while I was watching the episode, it didn't occur to me that it was him that was behind the whole exploding bubble wrap thing. Oh, and the Doctor wears a fez in this episode, which is a nice reference to Matt Smith's Doctor in Series 6. Of course, we saw him wear the fez in The Big Bang and the Pandorica Opens episode of his era. So that's nice. But yeah, back to the point. It is the janitorial work, the janitorial worker that is behind the exploding bubble wrap situation, and yeah, I didn't know it was him until that moment. But what the Doctor does is excuse me. What the Doctor does is directs it towards that and brings the exploding bubble wrap situation back to the robots, so that the robots blow themselves up and save the factory. What I give this episode is a solid 9.5 out of 10. For that, I gave this episode a 7 out of 10 because, one, it's fairly well structured. There's no fussing about with it, it's just straight to the point. And the way the characters were portrayed was very interesting. There's nothing too much they came across very well, very interested in what they wanted to do, and that really showed in this episode. So there's nothing really I couldn't downgrade it on anything if I wanted to, because it was a fairly standard, brought back to roots Doctor Who story, and that's what Doctor Who is all about. It's about bringing Doctor Who back to its roots, being sci-fi or horror or whatever, horror in a very minimal way. So that's it. Join me later on this evening when I review The Witchfinders and the penultimate episode in the series, It Takes You Away, and we'll see where it goes from there. But until then, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later on this evening. Bye for now.